Daf Yomi Tractate Bava Batra, page 58b, and I pointed out that there's a lot of interesting stories about this Rabbi Bena'a, and we're on page 58, and the gematria of Bena'a is 58. That's kind of interesting. At any rate, Rabbi Bena'a saw that it was written upon the gate, any judge who is summoned to judgment is not considered a judge, as judges must be above reproach. He said to them, if that is so, then if a person comes from elsewhere, now we're on 58b, okay, umazmin lahu ladina pesale, ela kol dayan de miskari ladin, umapkim mine mamona bedin lav shmei dayan, sevu hachi, beram sabai, de Yehudai amri, kol dayan de miskari ladin, umapkin mine mamona bedin, lo shmei dayan, and summons a judge to judgment, he is disqualified, the judge, even if he were to later be exonerated. Rather, he should say, any judge who is summoned to judgment and money is lawfully taken from him, in other words, he was ordered to return someone's property, is not considered a judge. When they heard this, they wrote this addendum to the original inscription. But the elders of the Jews say that any judge who is summoned to judgment and money is lawfully taken from him is not considered a judge. Chaza dichsiv. Rabbi Bena'a also saw that it is written there, Berosh kol mosa anadam, Berosh kol chayin anachamar. He saw that it was written there, at the head of all death am I, blood. In other words, people die from an excess of blood. At the head of all life am I, wine. And wine is what gives life. I'm not sure what that means, but anyway. Elo me'ata dinafik me'igara umis, dinafal midikla umis, damakatale. Excuse me. He said that is so in the case of someone who falls from a roof and dies, or someone who falls from a palm tree and dies. Was it blood that killed him? Damakatle Visu, and more, almost even more than that. Furthermore, Min Didarche Lememas Mashkule Chamrachayai. He's also asking about the questioning the whole idea of that why wine gives life. Furthermore, concerning someone who is on the way to death, can they give him a drink of wine he will live? Elahachi bailichta barosh kol marin anadam rosh kol ason anachamar kasvu hachi bedam sabai yudai amri resh kol marin anadam resh kol ison anachamar ba'asar delays chamar tamam midba'u simanin. Okay. So he asked him, if someone's dying, can wine give him life? No. Rather, this is what should be written: at the head of all illness am I, blood. At the head of all healing am I, wine. Still don't know how wine heals everything. Anyway, when they heard this, they wrote this addendum to the original inscription. But the elders of the Jews say, at the head of all illness am I, blood. And the head of all healing am I, wine. In a place where there is no wine, herbs are required there as medicines. Siva Pescha de Pot, Gia, Anpak, Angab, Anbag, Antal, Bezu Antal, Zehu Revias Shotora. Having related that incident, the Gemara notes that at the entrance of Kapotikia, it was written Anpak, Anbag, Antal, which are all names for the same measurement. What is ontal? It is the quarter log of the Torah. Quarter log of the Torah. What does that mean? Okay. New Mishnah. Amar Zev Eno Chazaka. Yesh Nukomo Chazaka. Amaz Chela Yesh La Chazaka. With regard to a spout protruding from one's roof, gutter draining water into another's property, its owner has no means to establish an acquired privilege for its use, but he does have the means to establish an acquired privilege with regard to its place, as the Gemara will explain. With regard to a gutter pipe that traverses the length of the roof, one does not have the means to establish an acquired privilege for its use. Sulam ha-mitzri ein lo chazaka, bilatzori yesh lo chazaka. With regard to an Egyptian ladder, which is small and portable, one has no means to establish an acquired privilege for its use. But with regard to a Tyrian ladder, which is large and fixed in place, one does have the means to establish an acquired privilege for its use. Okay. Next, Chalon ha-mitzris ein lo chazaka, bilatzoris yesh lo chazaka. Ezehu Chalon ha-mitzris, kol she'ein rosh shel adam Yachol lekanes l'tocha. Okay. Yehud Omer im yesh la milaben af al pi she'ein rosh shel adam Yachol lekanes l'tocha harei zo chazaka. With regard to an Egyptian window, one has no means to establish an acquired privilege for its use. But with regard to a Tyrian window, one does have the means to establish an acquired privilege for its use. What is the defining nature of an Egyptian window? It is any window that is so small that a person's head is not able to fit inside it. Yehuda says, if a window has a frame, even though a person's head is not able to fit inside it, one does have the means to establish an acquired privilege for its use. And that's the Mishnah. And we have just a little bit of Gemara left. Nice, we're doing well on time also. Okay. Gemara, the Talmud says, My Hamar Bein Lo Chazaka. What does it mean? Hamar Bein Lo Chazaka V'yesh Lo Mekom Chazaka. Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel Haki Kamar Hamar Bein Lo Chazaka Meruach Achas V'yesh Lo Mekom Chazaka Meshnei Ruchos. The Gemara asks, what is the meaning of the Mishnah statement with regard to a spout? Its owner has no means to establish an acquired privilege for its use, but he does have the means to establish an acquired privilege with regard to its place. Yehuda said that Shmuel said this is what he's saying. Concerning the spout, the owner has no means to establish an acquired privilege for its use with regard to one side. In other words, the owner of the field below has the right to move the spout from one place to another on one side of the roof, but he does not have the means to establish an acquired privilege concerning its place with regard to two sides. In other words, the other owner of the field below does not have the right to move to another side of the roof. Rabbi Chanina says, Amar Zev Ein Lo Chazaka is a different explanation. With regard to the spout, the owner has no means to establish an acquired privilege for its size, and if it was long, the owner of the field below may shorten it, but one does not have the means to establish an acquired privilege with regard to its place, as if the owner of the field below comes to remove it entirely, he may not remove it. So obviously says, Amar Chev Ein Lo Chazaka She'ein Rotze Livnos Tachtav Bo Naviyesh Mekoma Chazaka She'im Bo Le'okro Eino Okro. Yirmiyah Bar Abba said there is a different explanation with regard to a spout. The owner has no means to establish an acquired privilege for its use, as if the owner of the field below wishes to build beneath it, he may build, and the owner of the spout may not prevent him from doing so, but one does have the means to establish an acquired privilege with regard to its place, as if the owner of the field below comes to remove it entirely, he may not remove it.